Hello, it's almost lunchtime. It's about 85 degrees here this morning. This morning I was going to show you guys kind of an 8-minute, what I call as a plank flow. A lot of people talk to me and ask about different ab exercises and what's going to be the most effective to really get a tight core. Good morning. So the first thing that I want to explain is that your core is not just the center of your abdominal wall. You can do 550 crunches a day and you will never have a six-pack that's visible if your diet is not key. Good morning from Minnesota. So of course your diet is absolutely a must. Most of us already have pretty good ab structure underneath. We just have to get the yes, and I also had a C-section too, so that's the one thing that I really wanted to kind of discuss with you guys is that your core is 360 degrees all the way around your body. So let me put my phone down real quick and I'll show you guys. So you have here, which anytime that you're doing standard crunches, it's only going to affect this area right here. Women that have either had babies or, like I said, C-section, what happens is there is a line here as your belly expands with that baby inside. It's split. God made it to split. The problem is that after we have that baby, most of the time, this line does not ever completely go back together. So what we have to do is we have to engage our entire core, which starts back here and comes all the way around here to the front, and we have to really work on the entire thing. Anybody that you know that says that they have a weak back, they have a weak core. My husband throws his back out all the time, and I told him that. I said, if you start working on the front, already starting with that mess. If you really would work on focusing on this part of your core, it's going to naturally start to help take some of the stress and the pain off of your back. So what you want to do is you want to kind of envision your abdominals like they're a corset. So what we want to focus on, ladies, is this area in here, which is going to end up kind of pulling it this way. Good morning. Again, doing crunches, side to side crunches, that kind of stuff is is not going to bring in that tightness that we're looking for. Like I said, if you can think of what it feels like when you wear a corset and it really binds you in, that's kind of the feeling that you want to go with. That's what your abdominals were created to do, is to hold in your organs, your insides. And unfortunately, babies stretch all that stuff out, and so we have to work extra hard to pull that back in. If that line in your abdominals is too large, which you can usually tell if you lay down and you start to do a crunch, if you have a little bit of a pooch that comes up right here, good morning, Boston, then there's a good chance that it won't completely go back together, but we can definitely work on getting it much flatter. The other thing that I want to tell women, especially, is I don't think anybody should do a bunch of crunches. That's just me. I don't care if you're overweight or if you're super skinny. Crunches are not going to be able to do it for you. Yeah, I mean, holding in your stomach is an isometric move, but what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to get that extra deep squeeze, and they tell you to kind of try to suck your belly button into your spine. It's kind of an awkward thing to try to do. So I'm going to show you guys kind of an 8-minute plank flow that each movement is only 30 seconds long. And yeah, I mean, some people, that separation is actually very wide, but it is possible, like I said, if you start to do some of the cross core type work, to end up actually bringing those back together. If you ever see a woman in the gym holding a 45 or whatever like this, doing these, tell her to stop. All she's doing is thickening. We want to be as skinny as possible here. Well, at least most women do. So this exercise is going to thicken the side here. We want this motion all the time in any movement that we're doing. We don't want this back and forth. A lot of men do that, and I'm like, y'all already have love handles. Why you want to make those things bigger? But whatever. So let me go ahead and show you guys the 8-minute. It's like I said, it's 30 seconds per move. I'll do each one of them maybe for half of that, just so that we can get all the way through the whole set. So that's a great way to start too. If you are not used to doing these kind of exercises, start with 10 seconds each. Start with 15 seconds. Continue to slowly add 1 to 2 seconds. It's going to burn. It's going to cramp. That means it's working. The other thing that I want to tell you guys too is I don't know where the idea came from, but overworking your abs is ridiculous. It is the same thing. Why would you do biceps every day? Why would you do calf raises every day? Do not work your abs out daily. No, no, no. Add them in maybe twice a week. If you're doing other movements, if you're holding your core in doing those, yes, it's an 8-minute. Only 8 minutes is this particular routine. If you're doing things like deadlifts, you're holding your core in. If you're doing squats, you're holding your core in. You don't need to be doing abs every single day because your other movements are doing your abs at the same time. So really focusing specifically on an ab workout, I would say maybe twice a week. I don't suggest to most people that I work with that they do more than 2 high-intensity cardio sessions a week, so put them in on those days. That's an easy where you're not lifting anything else for that day. You're just literally doing cardio. So do your cardio workout for 20-30 minutes. Then add in your abs for 8, you're done. It ends up making it much easier to remember when to do them, and it doesn't kind of cut in to your lifting time. I do, for macro calculations, it's $30, and I not only explain kind of the basics of how counting your macros works, I also create an initial macro breakdown for you, as well as 2 other drops if you're on fat loss, or 2 other increases if you're doing a reverse diet with me. So I really feel like for the $30, I also, if you have your macros calculated by me, there's also a private Facebook group for anybody that I have done them for, and it really helps with each other to be able to support, ask questions. We share success stories, we share workout tips, all that kind of stuff too. So that's the other added benefit for me calculating your macros. If that's something that you want me to do, there's a link on poppylocks.com. Yay! The Canadians had Thanksgiving on Monday and you survived! That's so exciting. It's on poppylocks.com. There is a drop-down menu under order and pricing. I am doing Skinny Meg's macros. She's about to go into a reverse while she takes off some time from working out, and I'm going to help her do that so that she doesn't gain fat, so that when she's able to come back, she will be strong and ready to go and still just as lean as she is right now, because she's worked very hard to get to the place where she is, and Lord knows we don't want to gain weight once we finally get somewhere where we're kind of confident and happy with the way that we feel. All right, so 8-minute plank flows. Everything is going to be up on your toes. If you can't handle it on your toes, it's fine for you to go on your knees. I can also show you guys some variations on how to make things easier and a little bit harder. So you're going to start in a typical elbow plank. I guess we should probably put some music on so that we're not, it's not total silence. Between that and my birds. The difference between, I'll tell you guys that real quick. The difference between a fat loss plan and a reverse plan is fat loss is obviously to lose fat. It's also called a cut. Once you can kind of get into the extremes, it's when people start to lean out when they're in a competition. Obviously, anybody can go into a fat loss. That's a calorie deficit. A reverse does exactly that. It reverses you out of a calorie deficit, and it happens very slow, and it's a definite formula that you're following to slowly increase your carbs, your fats, and your overall calories so that you don't gain weight. You want to gain the least amount of fat while building muscle. We can only build muscle when we're in a calorie surplus. So when you are in a fat loss plan, the idea is you can still build strength, and then you can still maintain where you are while you lose the fat. At some point, we all have to switch out of a fat loss plan. We cannot be trying to lose fat for our entire life. So you then switch over to the reverse. Yes, once you hit where, like if you're happy with where you are, you want to be eating more calories. I mean, the more calories that you're eating, the stronger that you're going to get, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to sleep. So yeah, it's more, you can get up to you can reverse up to a certain amount of calories and then maintain at that calorie intake. That's really, once you feel like you're ready to get into a maintenance mode, that's when you kind of will start to switch over into more intuitive eating. You don't want to be counting macros for the rest of your life. I am on Instagram. It's at Poppy_Locks. That's where I post all of my recipes and pictures of all the different foods that I make. A little bit of lifting advice, that kind of stuff. Most of that stuff, like I said, is on my Facebook group page. So here we go, 8-minute plank flows. Starting on your elbows. See if I move farther so you can see. I'm up on my toes. After you're in this position, like I said, you can start to 10 seconds at a time, 15 seconds, whatever you feel like you want to start with. And then your next movement will be turning to your right side, staying up. My feet are still on the floor. Really pull this side in. If you want to make it more difficult, you can do a slight extra crunch. You'll then go back into the elbow. And then switch to the left side. This is also gonna, by moving up and down, is also gonna tighten the hip flexor, the side oblique. You'll roll over then onto your back. Like I said, your core is not just your abdominals, it also includes your back, so you wanna make sure. So you're gonna lift up here, let me show you. And then you're gonna lift this one leg and keep it parallel with the other thigh. Then switch to the other side. Then drop down, standard crunch for 30. You'll then go back over onto your right side on your elbow. Bring this side up. This leg now is going to come up and stay here. Again, that's going to be working pretty much the entire core all at one time because you're having to stabilize and then you're also having to flex this one to get this side up. Go back into the elbow. Left side. After you've done that one for 30 seconds, you're going to go up on your hands for your plank. Again, on the feet. Like I said, you guys can do them for 10 seconds if you need to. You don't have to do the full 30 seconds every time. After being here for 30, you'll want to go into a standard mountain climber. Now, when you go into the mountain climbers, it's not just about being as fast as possible. It's about really pulling that knee into that elbow on either side. After you've done that, you'll actually take a 30-second rest. I haven't even done the whole 30 seconds on each one, and I'm already sweating and out of breath. Then you'll go back again into the mountain climber. This time, instead of crossing the knee to the elbow, this knee needs to come to this elbow. Once you've done that one for 30 seconds, your last move is up, up, and down, down. You'll start in an elbow plank. You'll go down, or a hand plank, go down onto your elbow. 1, 2, up, down, up, down, up. Keeping your core tight throughout the entire thing, you'll start to figure out that It's almost impossible not to keep your core tight when you're doing this. And like I said, abs need rest, just as much as any other muscle does. So don't feel like you need to be doing abs 5 days a week or you're not gonna see results. You're gonna see results if you do biceps twice a week or if you do legs twice a week, and if you do abs twice a week, it'll be the same. Your diet has to be key in order to losing fat. So, I do legs twice a week. First of all, they're my favorite body part to work. I obviously can lift the most weight with them. I can squat the most. So I enjoy it. I do arms once a week, but like I said, a lot of the different back movements, when you're doing row or you're doing lat pull down, you are using your biceps and your triceps and your forearms when you're doing those other movements. So those, again, the bicep is not the big muscle on the arm, the tricep is. Tricep is the one you really want to focus on. That's what's going to give you the good shape. You're so welcome. I'm over here like all out of breath and sweaty now. Tricep is what's going to that's what gives women pretty shape. It's also what gives women that jiggle arm on the back. Your bicep is actually much smaller than your tricep is. So that's what I would focus on. I would focus on your lats. That's also going to get rid of the back of the, thank you. I actually had all that brown put back in. I wasn't sure about it, with fall. I kind of got away from super blonde for a little while. Have a great day, Utah. So yeah, I would focus on triceps. I would focus on lat pull down. I haven't deleted anybody, just because I feel like there are people that even if they don't necessarily continue to get a plan from me, if they have before, they can really benefit from being in community and the advice that they get from the other people that are in there. I feel like if someone has actually taken the initiative and paid me to do an initial macro calculation with them, and I'm able to walk them through it, that they kind of, they should be in community to be able to continue to succeed, even if they're not paying me. It's not about that. If you don't have Facebook, well, I'm on Instagram, and obviously you're on Periscope. So if you have like general macro questions, ifitfitsyourmacros.com is a great place to go. MacroFit is also a great place. If you are, yay, hi Michelle. If you're totally new to it and you're completely clueless, but you don't know if you really want to pay somebody to do your numbers, Sohee Lee wrote a beginner's guide to macros ebook. So you can find it on soheefit.com. It's endorsed by Layne Norton. If anybody's been following macros for any period of time, Layne Norton is like the god. So he's another one. Follow on YouTube. Listen, he's actually the reason that I started following macros 2 years ago. Was I happened to get on YouTube and saw this video about how your metabolism adapts and how you become so efficient, which is not a good thing, that you learn how to survive on a very small amount of calories, and you are doing tons of cardio, tons of working out, and you're gaining fat, and what the hell's happening? And it was like he was talking to me. So I started watching his videos on YouTube. I think he's got, I don't know, 20, 25, 30 podcasts now. He's amazing. So if you guys are looking just for generic information and you're not really sure if it's a diet that you want to follow yet, those are two people that I would check out. I'm also more than willing to answer any questions that you guys might have. Like I said, I'm on Instagram at Poppy_Locks. I'm here at Poppy Locks Cakes. I also am on Facebook, or you can email me at poppylockscakes@gmail.com, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have. So if you guys like seeing videos on different ways to perform certain exercises to make sure that you have good form or you're properly executing it, let me know, and I'm more than happy to keep posting them. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Yes, absolutely. Following a macro-based diet is definitely something I think, I wish I would have known about it when I was pregnant. When I saw that stick turn blue the first time, there wasn't a food that was off limits. I was tired of flipping dieting. I wanted to be able to go to McDonald's and eat a quarter pounder with cheese and fries and not feel guilty about it. And I kept telling myself, well, I'm feeding 2, screw it. I think pregnancy is great for 2 reasons. One, you have the freedom to see how you're eating with a lot of flexibility, because you do give yourself more leeway, and you should. I mean, being able to have a baby is such a blessing. So if you're nursing, if you're pregnant, your macro plan can be written to have a little bit more of those calories in there for you so that you and your baby both are getting the nutrients that you need. A lot of times in pregnancy, I'll put somebody on a reverse plan and push their calories up because they need more since they're creating a human being in their body. And then it also makes it so much easier after they have that baby to go into a fat loss plan. And yes, thyroid, same thing. It's absolutely something that can help, because it's literally just creating a calorie intake around you and around the way that you work out, if it's possible for you to work out. I think thyroid sufferers probably do a little bit better on a higher fat macro plan as opposed to higher carb. And then, of course, pregnant and nursing moms do better with the higher carb instead of the higher fat. So that's the benefit to having somebody calculate your macros instead of going on to one of those generic sites and kind of winging it and hoping maybe you got the numbers right. So that is where I really think that finding somebody who knows what they're doing, talking to them about it, and seeing if the plan is right for you. It's eating whatever you want to. That's the best part. There's nothing restrictive about it. It's not one of those diets where you can't eat certain things. Nothing's off limits. And that's a definite plus for a lot of people. If you have dairy issues, gluten issues, you don't have to eat any of that stuff. If you don't like vegetables, don't eat vegetables. Totally up to you. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, you definitely can contact me, and I hope to be able to answer any questions that you may have. I hope you have... Oh, Lane Norton. I was like, what guy? Did we have a creeper? Yes, his name is Lane Norton. Typically, Julie, there's not. If you wanted to, you could, if you know kind of how you've been eating, the first thing to do is you're going to want to, yeah, me and Skinny Meg are crazy, aren't we? You're going to want to track your food for a couple of days, Julie, and kind of see where you are with eating. And then that's probably the best start. And then I could let you know if you need to be in a reverse. That's what happened to me when I first started on a macro-based diet. I was eating about 1,300 calories a day, and my email is poppylockscakes@gmail.com. So yeah, I was eating about 1,300 calories a day. I was a distance runner, running 50 to 60 miles a week. I'm in the gym lifting weights 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week. So my basal metabolic rate probably at that point was somewhere around 1,700 to 1,800 just to survive, just brain function, heart beating, lungs, and I was eating 1,300 a day. And throughout the course of about 1.5 years, 2 years, I gained about 20 pounds of fat while eating that low and exercising that much. That was when I found Lane Norton. That's when all of a sudden everything that he was saying made complete sense to me, because I thought, why am I, and crazy part, I went to my doctor, my actual physician, told him what was going on. He says, just eat less. At some point, your body will just recognize that you're not eating, and it will end up making you lose weight. And it was like, oh my God, this guy has lost his freaking mind. He wants me to eat less than 1,300, keep exercising like I am. I have no energy. I look like shit. I feel like shit. I'm crabby all the time, and I'm fat. Are you freaking kidding me? And that was when I started, I'm like, I gotta find something. And I knew that paleo didn't work for me. I knew that the low carb Atkins type stuff didn't work. And I knew there had to be a long-term sustainable solution. So that was when I found out about macros. I started out on a fat loss, thought that this could be possible. I was on fat loss for 8 weeks, lost nothing. And that was when it came to my attention that I needed to be going onto a reverse. And that freaked me out because the idea behind a reverse, exactly. I was hungry. I was freaking starving. So I still was carrying the 20 pounds of fat and started into a reverse, like I said, at 1,300 calories. I was told that I was to focus on not gaining weight. So now I was no longer focusing on losing. I was focusing on not gaining. And as a woman, you guys all know that is freaky because we always want to be losing, right? We want to be thinner and fitter and look better. So I started out slowly reversing. I automatically got my protein up to the 1 gram per pound of body weight because that was one of my main issues, was not eating enough protein. And then over the course of 6 months, I went from eating 1,300 a day to 2,250 a day. I had my body fat tested at the 1,300, and I was at 24.9, I think is what it was, 24.9% body fat. Went in 6 months later, had it tested again right before I went into fat loss. I had lost 1% body fat. I'm now eating almost 800 calories more a day. I lost 1% body fat, gained 6 pounds of muscle. Insanity. I mean, I was like, because the scale kept creeping up in my reverse, and I about flipped my shit. I'm like, I can't get fatter. And so I just had to continue to believe that I was trusting the process and that I had obviously proved that starving myself wasn't working. So now I needed to learn how to refeed myself. And went through this process of the reverse, then switched into a fat loss. Over the course of the next 14 weeks, I lost 9 pounds of fat and 11.5 inches off my entire body. And I was sold. And that took me a year to get sold, guys. So when I say that it's a long term, it is. This is not something that you jump in and that you hope in 6 weeks that you're able to go to such and such wedding wearing a size 2. It's not going to happen. But I can promise you that I am proof that eating less and exercising more does not work, and that exercising less and doing it the right way and truly feeding your body properly will end up helping you lose that fat. I use hydrostatic body fat test. It's an underwater where you go in and they completely submerge you, except for like this part of your mouth right here. And then you breathe all your air out, and they do it twice. Skinny Meg and I went and did it at the same time. From what I have heard, between that and DEXA scan, those are the two most accurate. It was, I think, $45 for one time, or $80 if you wanted to do it twice. So now I paid $80 and I can go back again within the next 6 months and be retested. So I think it's a great place to start. You can go out to my website at poppylox.com. There's a drop down for the macro plans in the order and pricing drop down list, I think it is. And then you can submit the form online, Julie, and we can kind of talk on there. You're welcome. It's the other thing with measuring fat. Oh my gosh, isn't that so good? The other thing with fat measurement is if you only have the handheld or you only have the calipers, is consistency. It may be wrong, okay? So if you get on this thing and it says that you're 32% body fat, that might not be accurate, but your loss will most likely be accurate. So it may say 30, but you're really only 25. But if you lose 2 pounds of 2%, you lose 2%. So you may not have the accurate starting number, but you can watch it accurately decrease. I think calipers is going to be the next most reliable. The handheld, I've used them before. I can literally hold it like this, and then I can hold it like this and retest, and I can lose like 3% body fat like that. So I don't trust the handhelds at all, and I even own one. So yes, test your body fat when you first start. You know what though? It's 52% is not, that's actually average if you look online. It's just going to be slow and steady, and most likely you would probably start out losing fat faster. Okay, as far as Weight Watchers, I have a friend who was a Weight Watchers person. She actually came to me to figure out her numbers a couple months ago. She loved Weight Watchers. She had lost, I don't know, 15 pounds, something like that on it, and then she got to where she was stuck. When I started to talk to her about the ins and outs of Weight Watchers, one of the things she told me was that fruit was a free food. There's no such thing as free food. Bananas are super high in carbs. Berries are the lowest carbohydrate fruit. So I told her I felt like there was a bit of a flaw in that. I think it's a great place for people to start. If you're trying to figure out a way to lose weight, it's a great place to make it easy where you're counting those points. But you will get to a point, I believe, that you're going to get stuck. And that's when you need things to kind of switch it up. And that's where I think that if it fits your macros, then can kind of take over. Because you have to count those fruits as carbs, just like you would have to count oatmeal. Or, I mean, how is a carb in a banana any different than a carb in oatmeal? Why is one free with Weight Watchers and it's not free with the other? So that's my thought on them, is that if you're going to, yes, see, you get to a point. I don't stay away from bananas. I stay away from nothing. I eat Oreos. I eat lots of Cool Whip. I eat ice cream. I do not stay away from bananas. I do eat bananas in the morning because I work out in the morning. And so my post-workout, I have more carb leeway, but I don't stay away from bananas. So if you have issues with certain foods, yes, stay away from them. That's right. Eat all the foods as long as they fit. So yeah, if you want to contact me, you guys have my info. I don't scope a whole lot, but you can always find me here too. You know, that's the other thing too, as far as weight loss goals. That is one thing that I try to stay away from, is the poundage. That was the other thing that I learned with the hydrostatic body fat test. I went in, I always wanted to weigh 130 pounds. That was kind of my goal. I'm 5'4", I'm fairly stocky, as you guys have seen. And I 130 was where I wanted to be. I went in and I had my test done, and my lean body mass, which is bone, muscle, and organs, was 122 pounds. I see I'm very muscularly dense. So basically what that told me is it is physically impossible for me to weigh 130 pounds. That would put me at about a 5% body fat, which for women, a super lean woman is about 15%. So I can't be 5% body fat. And that was an eye-opener for me. It ended up making me realize that 130 pounds was an unrealistic goal, and that I had no real reason to want to weigh 130. So that would, right now I weigh 148 this morning. So yes, I have 25 pounds of body fat. That is awesome. Oh, thank you. Yes, so that's a huge thing too, measuring yourself, because those inches lost, that was a much bigger success for me, I think, than even seeing the scale go down. But yes, inches, measuring, that is going to be your key, because as you gain muscle, you will not be losing pounds on the scale, but your inches will be decreasing. So that's, like I was showing you guys, even with the core stuff, your waist will you will lose inches around. That's exactly right. Always. I mean, I've told my macro mamas, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God created each one of us individually and uniquely, and we need to be thankful for that. This is a choice and a privilege that we get to do this, and that we get to do it together, and I'm excited to be able to do this with you guys. So I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you soon.